Okay, so transplants. I'm going to squeeze it here. Or another term is a graft. There are 4 types of grafts. Auto, iso, allo, and xeno. Let's break them down. What is autograft? Self to self. For instance, if I suffer from skin loss as a result of a burn, physicians will try to restore the skin by transplanting it from my back, more specifically from the buttocks, onto the affected area. Does that make sense? That's autograft. There is no rejection, there is no immunological reaction. Okay? Isograft, specifically between the identical twins. Identical twins. If you have an identical twin, I strongly suggest lure them into your house, into the basement, chain them to a pipe, and feed them well. They're going to serve as an ideal organ donor later in your life. Okay? There's no immunological difference between identical twins. Organs can be transplanted from one twin to another without an immunosuppression because they share MHC. So basically, like, if that's one twin, that's another twin. I mean, there are very, 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 very small differences, subtle differences, which do not amount to rejection. Clear? Allo. 2 different people that are not identical twins. It can be 2 siblings or complete strangers. Does that make sense? In most cases, people who are genetically related are closer to each other in terms of the MHC composition than the strangers. So like if you would compare me and my brother, we would be closer than, I don't know, me and Michaela, right? Does that make sense? But for instance, my kids' brothers, okay, they are probably, I don't know, I didn't check the MHC, of course. They're probably close enough. But there are situations when you have 2 people that are complete strangers and they may have a better antigenic match than relatives. Okay? In many cases, honestly, the donations occur, like, let's say, God forbid, if my wife needs a kidney. I mean, that's going to be me who will offer first, right? We may not be close because we're not blood related. But let's say, okay, my wife needs a kidney when one of my sons may be a good donor. But there may be a situation that there will be a complete and total stranger to her that will be a better match than a son. It is not frequent, but. And of course it complicates things like, somebody doesn't have children, or somebody's like father or mother willing to do that, but they're too old, and all kinds of different complications that can arise. This is why sometimes we look for strangers. And let's admit, God gave us paired organs for a reason. You have 2 kidneys, 2 lungs, because you need 2. Like, it's better than to have 1. So, okay. And finally, xenografts from animals to humans. It's not frequent, of course. Basically, it is restricted to cardiac valves. Cardiac valves from a pig can be transplanted into a person. That makes sense? We clear?
Can you say the first one again?
Auto? From yourself onto yourself. Okay. Now, 2 main problems associated with transplantation are fancy pants. Yeah, here we go. Rejection and GvHD. So let's start with rejection. So recipient's immune system attacks the graft. Okay, does that make sense? So let's say I receive an organ, a solid organ. Rejection is the feature of solid organs. So let's say I receive a kidney transplant. My immune system is used to this being normal. This is my MHC, major histocompatibility complex markers, right? The graft that I receive is this. Is it a good match? No. So most likely I will reject it. This is why doctors, after knowing that this is my MHC, they start digging. What they find are, I'm making these two options, this and this. This is the original, okay? So this is the original. They find these two options. Which one is better? This one is closer, right? In terms of like a color. So hopefully they will pick it up and will put it in me. Now my immune system is used to this. This is in me. Are they different? Are they different by much? Will there be an immune response? Yeah. Will it be profound? Hopefully not. Still, it will be enough that if you don't mitigate it, immune system will eventually reject the graft. This is why people who receive the transplant, they have to take immunosuppressive drugs. Does that make sense? Now, what is GvHD? It's the acronym. It stands for graft versus host disease. Donor's white blood cells, I'll explain, attack recipient's organs. Now, look, again, this is me, okay? This is me. I need a bone marrow transplant. GvHD refers to bone marrow transplants virtually all the time. So, what is the function of the bone marrow? To produce which cells? All cells, blood cells, right? Like immune cells, red blood cells, whatever. So I need a bone marrow transplant because I have lymphoma, okay? So in order to, I love this question, it's so stupid, but so elegant. What do you need to do before you transplant a certain organ? What do you need to do with the recipient? Like, if you want to transplant a kidney in me, what do you need to do with me first?
Take your kidney out.
Yeah, to get my kidneys out first, right? So, because you need some space. So, same goes with bone marrow. Before you can put bone marrow in me, you need to get rid of my old bone marrow, right? So this is what you do. Like, you get rid of my old bone marrow, and you put new one in. This. Are they different? A little bit. So this bone marrow starts to produce white blood cells. And these white blood cells, remember, they are used to this color. This is what the normal MHC is for them. Am I clear? So they get into the system, and what they see around, they see that. They're like, whoa, it looks familiar, but not exact match. Okay? So you're going to kill it. This is called graft versus host disease. Again, how do you fight it? Immunosuppression. Does that make sense? Good?